Hi, folks. This is Rick Doc Walker, the DOC.
This is John Kime, and you're listening to the Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted.
What's going on, Rally? I don't know how you do it, man. Every time I look, you got more and more people joining you up in Spain, man. How's it going?
Well, no one else can join, bro. I'm sold out. I told people, hey, we start off with Group A, and that went in hours. We did Group B. That went in 2 days. Well, I did Group C, and that's sold out. And so I'm done. I am at the gills. I'm not going to take any more than 250 people. So I'm done. Yeah.
250 people you got going out there.
Bro, I mean, this is the biggest trip that I thought my London trip was big, but this is a lot bigger.
I mean, just think about it. We're actually good, right? When we went
That's
to
what it is.
when we went to London in 2016, we weren't good, right? We were okay. We had Pierre, we had Deshaun, we had Kirk on the roster.
Kirk, yeah.
But I mean, I would argue that we should be the home team because I feel that our fans are going to go up there and showcase more. And if you look at the advertisements for the game, you have people wearing Jayden Daniels jerseys during the advertisement for the game, not Dolphins jerseys, and they're the home team.
That's hilarious. It's good to be relevant. It's a good problem to have, bro. And I for one am all about it. And I can't wait that for this season to officially kick off, and not just mini camp and OTAs and 2 days, but I mean the actual bread and butter of the season to kick off, just to see where we are.
I'm right there with you, man. It's voluntary mini camp, so
Yeah.
I guess they voluntarily said fans can't come out. So I mean, in their defense, they had last week's mini camp inside the bubble because it was raining,
Yeah.
right? And I know for those wondering, it's Tuesday, June 3rd right now. We're recording this. I know we're supposed to be affected by the wildfires in Canada coming up here in the DC area. So we're supposed to be getting some of that haze. And someone was saying it's not actually cloudy outside. It's just all that smoke. So I don't know if they're going to have players practice in the bubble again. Phase 3 of minicamp is June 2nd to the 6th. So that's going on right now as you guys are listening to this, hopefully. So who knows if they'll be back in the bubble or back outside. I do remember a couple of years ago, those wildfires out in California, actually all the smoke came out here and were affecting us. And they're telling people not to spend any time outside, not because of the heat, but because of that smoke. So maybe they're going to put it back in the bubble.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember going up to Rhode Island for a weekend visit, and it was smoky and cloudy up there. So, yeah, it's terrible what's going on with Mother Nature. But I'm old enough to know where they have the commercials. It's not nice to fool with Mother Nature. Do you remember those commercials? Maybe you don't, maybe you do. But
no, I hear you.
I'm dating myself, but yeah, we can't be playing around with her because she's gonna have the last laugh.
Oh, definitely. It's interesting to see how something like that kind of affects us, but it's supposed to get in the 90s this week.
Ooh.
So I'm planning on hitting the pickleball court, and it's going to be hot as hell out there. But because I can't go to OTAs, I got to do something, right? And maybe I'll hang out with Terry or Laramie Tunsil because they're not at OTAs either. Same thing with Marshawn. So I was curious, what are your thoughts, man? You got Terry, who people are saying is holding out. Technically, he's not holding out because it's not voluntary. You got Tunsil, who just got traded here, right, from Houston. And you got Lattimore, who had I want to say in most fans' eyes, a pretty disappointing tenure with the team last year when we actually traded for him. And all three of those guys aren't there. First, do you care that they're not there? And second, which one, I guess, to stack rank the three, which one do you wish would be there the most? Like, go first, second, third.
You're not gonna like what I have to say. I don't care. The whole purpose of this is voluntary. Now, if this was mandatory minicamp, and I emphasize mandatory, and they were holding out, that's when I start to have a little bit of an issue. But this is all voluntary, and I don't care because I can remember, and everyone else can, Trent Williams, he wouldn't show up, but Trent was back in Houston working his butt off like a dog, and I saw some of the videotapes that what he was doing with the exercises and everything. And so, in some regards, the work was harder that he was doing that they were doing in minicamp. So the biggest thing is let it fly right now because it's not mandatory. So let those guys do whatever they got to do because I'm sure they're not just sitting at home eating bonbons, watching the days of our lives. I'm sure they're working out. Well, I like to believe that they're at some park or beach or whatever they're doing, working out, getting themselves prepared because in a couple of weeks we go live. Well, I shouldn't say a couple of weeks, but a couple of months, which in football is a couple of weeks. We go live and the coach is going to know who's in shape. Just it reminds me back in school when I was playing. The coach knew who took the summer off and who worked on it because everybody was throwing up or doing whatever they were doing or didn't have the wind. So hey, right now, let it go. Now, as far as Tunsil is concerned, once again, old school vet, you're going to find out that he's going to have more days off than he's going to have on. You may only see him 2 days out of the week. For real. I mean, when you think about it, the guy's old in the tooth, but he's still a good tackle. So I don't have a problem with it. They have a formula that how they treat old school guys show that okay, it's no different than Ertz. Ertz was an old school guy or is an old school guy. How many times did he practice during the week? Maybe once, one and a half, because he had the what do they call it, the Veterans Day off type of stuff. And let's face it, their bodies need a little bit longer to heal. As long as he's taking care of Jayden, man, a lot of things can slide with these guys. And I'm not a coach. I am a fan's fan. And as long as they're doing what they're supposed to do, I'm okay with it. Lattimore, I'm hoping he got healed up. We haven't heard anything, obviously, because they haven't shown up. As long as you have that injury, I will give you a pass. I will. Uh, and so I gotta go against you a little bit, Ted. And as far as Tunsil's concerned, you said we don't know his work ethic, but at the same time, who are we? Our GM knows his work ethic. Otherwise, he wouldn't have employed him. So I got to push back a little bit and say just ease up a little bit because you know those guys hired him for a reason. Now Houston got rid of him for a reason as well, but we picked him up for a reason. So I would say, hey, like in Stripes, lighten up, Francis. Just give it a little bit of time, and we'll see. Now, I could come back and eat a lot of crow, but I don't think those guys would have hired him if they really thought that he wasn't going to shape up and be up to par. Just like Lattimore in New Orleans, if they thought that he really wasn't going to be healthy, I don't think that they would have brought him in. They thought he would have been. And here's the thing. We kind of pushed. They say fans don't have, I guess, influence. Yeah, we do. We have influence because we influenced. We were like, well, where's this guy at? The press, everybody, which made him want to jump out there faster than what I think that he should have. And it came back to bite him in the butt and it showed. So we as fans need to slow our roll a little bit. Uh, all the newscasters, where's this guy at? These guys are human at the end of the day. And I know they say, oh, I don't read this and I don't listen to that. Bull crap. They do to some shape, form, or fashion. If they don't read it, somebody in their family is reading it or someone in the circle is reading it and telling them what it is. And it just creates that peer pressure to do something that you probably shouldn't have done. And in all honesty, it, we were like, well, we spent this money on this guy. Where is he? Where is he? What's going on with him? And so I think that we pushed him to come back faster than what he really wanted to. But my fingers and toes are crossed that he's going to come back to camp raring to go when it's mandatory minicamp.
So I don't know if I agree with you that Lattimore came back too soon, right? Because you heard stories all last year that the trainers would not let guys come back when they wanted to come back until they met every benchmark those trainers would not let those guys put that helmet and those pads back on. Right? Just Lattimore has not played a full season since 2021. Just facts. I mean, he played 9 games last year. He played 10 games in 23. He played 7 games in 22. So the last time he played a full season was 16 games back in 2021. So if he needs time, whatever, it is what it is. There's also people talking about the fact that he wants to get paid more because of the way his contract is laid out. There's also an issue possibly with Tunsil's contract because after this year, the team can get rid of him with 0 dead cap. So don't know if that's why the guys aren't there. Don't want to speculate, but that is what some of the talk is around town, that Tunsil possibly, there's a reason why Houston wanted to get rid of him because of his contract coming up, knowing how much he was going to want. So the same reason why Terry's not there is he doesn't have any guaranteed money after a certain time period. Lattimore's contract in 2025, right? They can get rid of him in 2026, and it's only a 6% cap hit. So there's just different things. And I agree with you. It's not as big a deal right now. We'll see what happens during mandatory time. And it wouldn't surprise me because you heard last year, guys would show up during mandatory time so they wouldn't get fined, but they wouldn't step on the field. They'd be there to stretch, but they wouldn't actually participate. And I'm fine with that when it comes to Terry because, I feel that he's earned the right. But with the other 2 guys, I need to see him put some pads on. I need to see him do something because they're now a part of this team. And if anything, Dan Quinn proved that no one's spot is guaranteed, right? We joked around about it. It's like drumline. Someone taps you on that shoulder and challenges you, you better step up. Or next thing you know, Josh Connerly's starting left tackle and Coleman's moving to right instead of Connerly going to right and Coleman going to guard. But
and that's what I love about football. Right now, everything is speculation. But when the pads come on, we've always said humans lie, the tape don't lie. So when it comes down to the nitty gritty, we're gonna find out. And also, Hard Knocks, they don't lie. So we're gonna have they have the all 32, right? The all 32. That's the tape, right?
Yeah.
That's the tape session. They got the all 32. Well, now there's gonna be more drill down when the special comes and they focus on these guys the way that they do. There won't
it's not going to be till December though, right? It's just
But what I'm saying is we'll be able to go back and see who did what.
Oh yeah.
So
agreed.
That's all
it's
I'm
just
saying. Yeah.
It's the end of the season at that point. The in-season Hard Knocks, they're not going to show as much, and the team actually gets a chance to say a little more what's going into it because they don't want to leak any type of strategy and stuff like that. But I agree with you. I do wish, and the last time we talked about it, you actually said that we were going to be on Hard Knocks. You prognosticated that that was going to happen. We are the in-season, towards the end of the season, Hard Knocks, and I feel that that's why we play the last 4 games against a division. Right. 2 against the Eagles within, a couple of weeks of each other, just so those teams the Hard Knocks teams can kind of stay close to it. And we go from there. But do you have, and I think I know the answer to this, but do you have any concerns with Jayden and Terry kind of being on the same page with Terry not being there?
No, because they had a full season. They had a full season in the same system. And I'm not worried about that. That's one thing that those guys can always do is they can always draw the play in the sand and say, hey, if you see me doing this, do that, and vice versa, and hit me. It goes back to Gary Clark and Monk and Theismann. They just knew what each other was going to do. And so I think that that's the same thing that's happening with Terry as well as Jayden. And, as long as 5 is on the field, bro, we got a chance. This ain't just Terry's out there, just throw it up there. No, this isn't the case. So
Remember that Heineke shirt?
You just throw it up there. Terry's out there somewhere. Those days are gone, man. So I'm not worried about it at all. And maybe I'm putting too much into it. Maybe I should be actually worried about it. But I'm, for whatever reason, maybe it's the comfort blanket that I got from last year carrying over to this year. I just feel more comfortable. I don't feel like that black cloud is hanging over us. Last year, no matter what anybody said, we still felt that the cloud was over us. Well, for me, the cloud has gone. You know what I mean? So maybe I'm just like oblivious to it all right now. Still feeling good, but I feel as though Terry is probably in the playbook as well as the iPad or whatever those guys have to be able to see where his marks are. And nothing beats actually being on the field. But at the same time, as I said, you know what you did last year. The playbook hasn't changed. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't our playbook kind of similar to Houston's playbook a little bit? So Tunsil with the concepts, I mean, nothing beats you being out there, but the concepts are the concepts. And you've been doing it for how many years now? So I just right now I'm not worried. I'm just not.
So I'm right there with you on not being worried. More so because of the fact that Kingsbury didn't go anywhere, right? Kingsbury decided to stay here, and it's the same playbook. And a lot of fans were worried that Kliff was going to leave and Jayden's going to have to learn a new system and this and that. This is actually Kliff talking about why he decided to stay.
You could have gone out and looked for some other jobs, and you didn't. Why did you want to be back this year?
Yeah, DQ has created a tremendous culture. The organization has as well, just starting at the top with Josh and then AP, type of people they brought in. So I'm excited to continue to learn from DQ and these other coaches and continue to try to build this thing.
To me, it's a bigger deal that Kingsbury stuck around than it is that we brought in Tunsil, that we ended up taking Connerly in the draft. I feel that these offseason moves were great, and everything they did to bolster the roster is great. But Jayden and Terry and the guys that were here last year to go into year 2 of the same system, right, is so much more invaluable than bringing in all these other pieces that have to get used to it, because the guy doesn't have to worry about thinking. He's now just reacting. It becomes instinctual. And that's why, I mean, I agree with you that Terry not being there, Jayden knows where Terry's going to be. He knows where he's going to line up. It's not going to matter, right? It's just knowing what Kliff wants to do and also what other wrinkles he's throwing in. And you've got people saying, well, I think it was a big focus on the sports junkies today and B. Mitch and Finley and some of the local stations here in D.C. Is Jayden going to have a sophomore slump? Right? Is he going to regress? And once again, it is June, so there's not a lot to talk about. But if anything, why do you think he's going to have a sophomore slump? Right? I'm actually curious about your thoughts. Do you think he's going to take a step back, or do you feel like he's going to take a step forward? A step back because defenses now have a year of tape on him, or step forward more so likely because he's got a year underneath his belt, underneath the same system?
Well, I think it's going to be the ebbs and flow of football, Ted. I think on some aspects he will not necessarily digress, but he will, because of the tape that is on him. It's no different than toward the latter part of the year when we played Dallas. Now he was hurt in AT&T Stadium to a degree, but we had to bring him out. Why did we have to bring him out? Because Dallas had his number. There are going to be games when guys just have their number. And that's when it comes down to play calling and figuring out, hey, what's not working with my quarterback this game? And if it means pulling him like they did in Dallas and having a formidable backup to be able to carry the load, that's what's going to have to happen. Things are going to happen. And what I don't want is the first sign of something, oh, we knew it was going to happen. And because people, for whatever reason, they blow stuff out of proportion instead of just. I'm more of the type of guy just letting it happen. I see that. I don't feel he's going to have necessarily and I'll answer the question. I don't think he's going to have necessarily a slump, but there are going to be times when he's going to think, "Ooh, okay." That's all I'm saying. What about you, man?
So I think there's going to be some regression because Jayden had an amazing freaking year, right? He's obviously going to take some steps back. He's probably going to throw more interceptions than he did last year because he feels more comfortable and he wants to take maybe some more risks and can try and do some things. But I'm not really worried about him taking a step back. And I think it's actually B. Mitch that was talking about today on the air. We may not go 12-5 during the regular season. We may go, 11-6. I think you and I both had him at 13 wins and you had him with a tie. But I feel getting to the playoffs is goal number one. Getting to the championship and winning the championship game for a lot of fans is the natural next step. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm not too sure if we're 100% there based upon the schedule we play and this and that. But he's also just one guy on this team, right? How is Brian Robinson going to do in a contract year? How's Debo going to do in a contract year? How is the defense going to do? I think a lot of people are putting it all on Jayden, and that's just not fair. Not fair at all. I want to say a majority of fans are thinking we go as far as Jayden takes us. That ain't really fair. The defense actually has to step up and do some things. And what's his name? Oh, I'm going to draw a freaking blank now. Our middle linebacker.
Oh, yeah, from Seahawks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, that's
yeah.
going to drive me crazy.
Me too. Now, see, if you hadn't said that, I'd be able to spit it right out. But you're right. He can't carry all the weight either.
No, but it's just he's a year older, right? People
Mm-hmm.
aren't really talking about that. And just not Frankie, but it's definitely drawn freaking blank now. But you guys know who we're talking about. Like, how is that going to happen? Because this is a team sport, right? And let's see how everyone else handles all the pressure put on them. Because I want to make sure it's not all Bobby Wagner.
Yeah.
Going crazy, right?
Yeah.
What's going to happen with him and how's that going to go? Right.
See,
Sure.
I was going to say I'm more concerned about who his backup is because he pretty much played every play on defense, and like you said, he's getting a little older, which means if you're a little older, let's just be the laws of nature means that if you're older, you're slower. That's just how it is. So who are they putting in as his backup to give him those breathers that he's going to need? Those are the things that I'm concerned about because Wagner could be at camp right now, hypothetically. He could be at voluntary, but being in voluntary camp doesn't mean that that's going to make you faster. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's
he's
what
there,
I'm concerned about.
right?
Yeah,
he didn't
that's
hold
what
out.
I'm concerned about.
It's Jordan McGee who's supposed to be the backup, and McGee he didn't play last season, right? He got hurt earlier on the year, so we'll see how that goes. I don't think Jayden's going to crumble under the pressure. Frankly, I think he strives with the pressure, so he'll be good there. People keep talking about how he adjusts. I want to understand how the rest of the team is going to adjust because I feel that Jayden's going to adjust fine. This is actually what DQ had to say about teams having tape on Jayden now that he's been a year in.
But with defenses obviously getting the year of seeing him on tape and getting a sense of what Kliff wants to do with him and things like that, what's the key for adjusting to that as you're starting this whole offseason process? Is it like to react to what we think is going to happen or just, hey, we do what we do? How to as a guy work the other side of the ball? How do you...
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of playbook that people haven't seen, number one. Featuring some new players and into some different spots. And how important that is to us, Ben, to say what can unique players do and find the spots to do them. I think Kliff's excellent at that. And so as we're going through, that's what's kind of fun about now, exploring some new thoughts, some new ideas and some scheme while like sharpening on the things like, can I go from, really good at something to elite and to the best at this concept, this type of play, this footwork. And so that's what we spend a good bit of time doing. But there is also some exploring time on all three phases because it's one thing to put it on paper. It's another thing to see it and move and what does it react and how does it look.
People keep forgetting that these other teams, seeing Jayden's speed on film versus seeing it live in person, two completely different things, right? And some of you guys, if you haven't been to a basketball game, like, and sitting on the wood versus sitting in the stands, even though you're not that far away vantage point, the game just looks completely different. And I remember when we were going up against Baltimore, they had a guy from our practice squad pretend he was Lamar. You can't mimic that. If you could, you wouldn't be on the practice squad.
Yeah.
Right? Just being
Say it for the
realistic.
people in the back. Say it for the people in the back here.
So these other teams that are going to try and pretend that, you don't have Patrick Mahomes is not going to run the practice squad team to pretend he's Jayden when they're going up against the Commanders. And he's the only one on that roster that can do it. So I'll be curious to see how everyone else handles it. There's a reason why Vegas has us favorites in 12 of the 17 games this season. And I'm not saying
I was going to ask you that. Because last year they said we were going to win 6.5 games, and obviously a lot of people got rich off of that. So where do they have us this year?
I think we talked about last show. It was plus 280 for over 11 wins. So if you put down $100, you win $280. So, I mean, 11.5 is kind of high because you don't know what's going to happen. But you and I both looked at the schedule and we went with 13.
I know, bro. I know, but when you hear it like that, you're like, wait a minute. I'm not ready to put my hard-earned money down. You know what I might put some money on, Ted? If I was to do it, just throw it out there for the division. Because no one has won the division 2 years in a row, and why not us?
Yeah, I hear you. I do think it's going to be a little tough for us to get the division just because of what Philly has done this offseason and what we have not done. Yeah. Really just bolstering that defensive line. I mean, they ran all over us, right? And maybe bringing in the guys that we brought in are going to address it. I just don't know yet. And it's just so early to tell. I'm trying to look at FanDuel right now and see what it says in regards to futures division. So for the NFC East winner, the Eagles are minus 140. So if you put down $10, you'll get $7.14. Right? The Commanders are plus 240. If you put down $10, you win $24. So if you think we're going to do it, then you got a chance. And if you really want to be risky, the Giants are plus 2,900. So if you put down $10, you get $290. So that shows you how much faith they got in the Giants doing anything. And the Cowboys are plus 500. So 10 to win 50. But I don't know, man. And I don't want to steal the thunder from Easy's show that I was just on. But right now, in June, I am not putting us winning the NFC East. I do think we make the playoffs. I do think we do a damn good job and go far. But I still think the Eagles are in that window where they've retained all their talent, brought on more. I do know they lost a couple of guys, but not a ton of key pieces. And it's just going to be us going up against them, right? And to win the entire thing, I mean, Super Bowl bets right now, the Ravens and the Eagles are tied at plus 700 to win the entire thing. Wow. So $10 to get you 70. So the fact that the Ravens are up there, I want to say is a little surprising to me because the Ravens really haven't done anything in the playoffs. We're plus 2,100 to win the Super Bowl. So, but I mean, looking at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there's 7 teams ahead of us. I mean, that's saying we're top 8 to win the Super Bowl, top 9 because we're tied with the Packers. Considering where we were this time last year and we knew nothing about this team, hell yeah, I'll take those odds.
Yeah. We were in the dark. We had no clue. The only time we got a clue is in the Cincy game, the Jayden coming out game is when we finally realized kind of what we had. Other than that, if you said that you knew it, no, you didn't. You had not. You thought about it, but you didn't know. But that Cincinnati game is when we said, we got one.
You were just a blind homer at that point, just thinking, right? It just, we're going 17-0 every year, and we're winning every preseason game on top of it. We all know that's not realistic. It ain't going to happen that way. But we do have more reason to believe, and I feel that it's because of the culture that they have built here. Yeah. And the fact that is carrying over to next year, right? Zach Ertz, all these guys, we were freaking out last year because they signed a 1-year deal. Guess what? A majority of them, other than I think Dante Fowler, came back, at least the ones that we wanted back, right? The ones that we didn't want back. No offense to OZ and some of the other guys, you know, they were kind of, I don't want to say a dime a dozen, but we got an upgrade with Debo. So we just didn't need those guys to come back.
Yeah, they signed a 1-year prove-it deal, and they proved it. And so I don't have a problem with it. And that kind of goes back to my thought process that I had earlier as far as why I'm not really concerned that these guys are possibly not in camp, because they proved their worth to a degree. So let them do what they got to do, and we as fans need to be fans.
I think part of it is, you know, debating and talking about what's going on. And I do hope that some of the fan base gets to go to mandatory minicamp. I have not seen any correspondence come out. I haven't seen a single thing about fans going out there. So if any of you guys know what's going on with that, I do think that they are practicing in the bubble and doing stuff there, because I could have sworn I heard that they were doing some type of renovations to the locker room or something over at the Ashburn. I'm not sure exactly, but regardless, I guess maybe if we want to see him practice, we can go up to New England, or we can, you know, maybe go to Baltimore again, because I don't think that they're hosting joint practices here. I know that they are doing joint practices with the Pats up in Baltimore, and I don't know if they announced if the Ravens joint practice is here or if it's in Baltimore. Baltimore just has a better facility.
Oh yeah, I'd go up there 10 times if I could. They have a great facility, and they also had a great crab food truck that I took part of the last time they were there. That food was good, bro.
Damn, that does sound good.
If by chance fans can attend again, I definitely would go up there, take off of work, and get that taken care of, because it was on point. Their facilities are top notch.
I remember watching it on YouTube, because they made it so it was a lottery system to be able to get in and go to that. And I didn't get a chance to win. So I think you went up, I can't remember with who, but
One
just
of the
watching
Hawk Farmers. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. And we played them. They announced a final preseason game Saturday the 23rd at noon. Not sure if I'm going to make it out for that one, but you know, yeah. Saturday in August at noon. That's not going to be too much fun. I'd rather go to practice than actually go sit out there in the stands and do that. But it can't get here soon enough, because I do want to see what these guys have cooking now that we're in year two of this system. I remember sitting down with Jason Campbell, talking to him about if he could change something during his career. One of the things that he wished he could have actually influenced, and it was keeping his coordinators. Just having to learn a new system basically every year just wears on you. And just imagine a new playbook and everything else. And I know you were talking about, you know, Tunsil knowing some of the schemes here. Some of the things are still different. So for him, you know, it is a little bit of that, but there's only so much it can change at left tackle, right? Left tackle one place versus the other place, other than some of the stunt and things like that. But I can't wait. And if you guys get passes to OTAs or mandatory minicamp, let us know. We wouldn't mind tagging along.
Oh, but, heck yeah. I'll take off of work for that. Please let us know if you got anything, if you hear anything, because we like you want to be in the middle of it all. We're still waiting to hear as far as, speaking of so we're going to go fast forward a little bit. Did you see on your invoice where you can start putting some money toward your new tickets if you wanted to? Did you see that? Future Stadium.
What are you talking about?
Future Stadium. Well, there was there's like you can add some money to your futures tickets or whatever have you. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
I did not see that, so I'm gonna have to try and pull that up. So they're letting you put money down towards your PSL, if you will.
You can start putting some money down like that. At least that's what I believe I read. I mean, you know, I do have a public school education, but I I want to say, yeah, man, you can start paying into the new season.
In the new season, or
the new stadium, new tickets. Yeah, new tickets. It's there. It's there, bro.
All right, I'm gonna have to try and find this thing, because I'm looking at offers, payment inside here. Where the hell did you see this?
I saw it on, and they may have taken it back. I don't know, because this was like 2 weeks ago, where it said basically start paying. Forgive me on the verbiage, but ultimately it boils down to start paying for futures, if you will.
So I do see that you can put a credit card for the playoffs.
No, yeah.
I don't see a new stadium thing because right now there is no new stadium. It has not been approved by DC Council yet. So I'm not saying it's not going to be, but they have until the middle of July to approve this thing. So we don't know.
That's a long time from now, man.
It is. Yeah. It's a month from now. And we talked about it, right? I feel that they left some things out so they could fix it and change some things. But so far right now, I'm not seeing it. If anyone else sees it, definitely let me know. And damn, I wish I did not log into this because now I'm seeing how much my season tickets cost. And I am.
It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it.
I'm looking forward to it. Those of you wondering, your boy's looking for a new job. I might need one soon, especially if I gotta finish paying off my installment plan with these season tickets, or if any of the commanders need a personal chef or something like that. I got you. You're just gonna have to help me pay these tickets off. But
or travel agent. I mean, you know, we all need a little help. Throw us a bone.
yeah, I mean, if you guys are trying to figure out how the hell they're making any of these trips, I know rallies they got to go to, right? Because Kansas City's one I definitely want to make, and I think you still got spots for that one.
Yeah, I still have spots for Kansas City.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to talk about that offline. But until then, we'll just live vicariously through the reporters that are going out to camp, since we can't be out there with them.
I can't wait. It's here before you know it, man, and we're on the cusp. It's within reach of our hands. It's right there. It's right there. So
I'm excited, but I'm also sad, right? Because once it's here, that means the summer's over, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is I don't want the summer to end yet because it's still just the beginning of June.
It just got here. It just got here. But we know that time flies, and we'll be talking about Christmas here in the next couple of months. So, but like you, I want to slow it down as much as possible. But man, we're gonna be in for one hell of a ride, and I truly can't wait for it. So before we go, so if the temperature's 90 degrees outside, what's the water temperature in OC normally?
Oh, right now it's about 67 degrees in the water. I
Still
did
chilly.
buy a new wetsuit top last time I was there, just because I've dropped 60 pounds and I just don't fit in any.
60?
Yeah, man, 60.
Whoa.
So I lost like a good medium to large size dog in weight. So I don't fit in any of my old clothes or anything anymore. Which, it's a good problem to have. I'm not trying to, little wine and cheese, but I had to buy a new wetsuit because every time I got in the water, the thing was too big and it wasn't stopping the water from coming in, right? It was just coming right in at that point. But I should be up there this weekend and supposed to be getting some 3 to 4 footers up there. So I'm looking forward to it.
Is the kite shop still up there?
Oh, yeah. It's still there, man.
All right,
Definitely
cool.
still there.
Because I'm going to stop by when I go up there. So I gotta get it. It's time for a new kite. So yeah.
Right by some Thrasher's fries. So you gotta stop and get some of those too.
Definitely will. Well, hey man, I hear the music playing in the background, folks, which I always tell you that you could have been anywhere, but you decided to be here. And we're gonna bring another episode of the DMV Mess Hall to a close. We thank you guys for listening. If you haven't told your friend about it, tell your friend about it. They may be interested in it, and maybe a couple of little nuggets here and there they can take with them. We also feed off of you guys' feedback. So get back to us. Let us know what you think. How can we improve? Let us know. It's not beyond us to ask for that. So, hey, remember, guys, you rep it hard or you don't rep it at all. Rally Captain, Tailgate Ted. We're out.